If you enjoy stories about life's wisdom, about karma, about compassion and the way to inner peace, please consider subscribing to this channel. I make many more videos like this. Thank you, truly. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever searched for peace? Like it was a destination? A place you could reach? If only things would just settle down? What if there is no path to peace? What if peace is the path? But how can you stay calm when the world outside is falling apart? When someone you love is deeply hurt? When injustice screams louder than truth? What would you do if someone destroyed the one you love most? Would you seek justice? Would you scream? Would you strike back? Or would you do nothing? Let me take you into a story that may just shatter everything you think you know about peace, about pain, about power. It is a story so quiet, so simple, yet so powerful, that even those with hearts turned to stone will find themselves in tears. And before we begin, let me ask you one more thing. Do you think choosing peace makes you weak, or does it make you unbreakable? Watch this story and decide for yourself. Her name was Amita Das. She lived in a small, dusty village in northern India, a quiet woman with a heart big enough to carry the suffering of others. Her husband died young, killed in a senseless fight between villages that couldn't forget old grudges. She was left with her only son, Ravi, a boy with the sun in his smile and the sky in his eyes. Every morning, Amita would cook a simple meal, and every evening, she would walk to the edge of her village, to a crumbling stone wall. Beyond that wall was the rival village, the one that had taken her husband. But she didn't go there for revenge. She went to feed the hungry. "Why do you feed them?" her neighbors asked. "They are the enemy." But Amita only smiled and said nothing. Some called her foolish, some called her a traitor. But Ravi admired his mother deeply. He watched her with quiet wonder, and often followed her on those walks. Until one day, Ravi didn't come home. Amita searched the fields. She called his name under the burning sun. She asked every home, every corner of the village. And finally, she found him. His lifeless body lay beneath the same wall where she had brought food every day. Beaten, bruised, gone. The villagers erupted in rage. "Now do you see?" they shouted. "They killed your son, Amita. Are you still going to feed them?" But she didn't answer. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just sat beside her son and closed his eyes gently. That night, they waited for her to call for blood, to demand justice, to lead them into war. But instead, the next morning, Amita cooked, again, rice, lentils, and a little mango pickle. She carried the food to the wall. And the people gasped. "She's lost her mind," they whispered. But Amita's steps were steady. Her hands still. Her face peaceful. When asked why, she simply said, "If I stop feeding them, I feed the hate inside me." For months, she continued her walks, alone, quiet, unafraid. And then one day, a young man stood waiting at the wall. Tears streaked his face. His knees trembled. It was Arun, the boy who had struck Ravi in a moment of blind rage. He knelt before her and whispered, "I was jealous. He was kind, and I was angry. I didn't mean to kill him. I can't live with it." Amita looked at him and reached for his hands. "Then don't die with it," she said. "Live, and let his kindness live through you." From that day on, Arun helped her cook. He carried the pots. He walked with her to the wall. And together, they fed the hungry. The wall no longer mattered. The war no longer mattered. What remained was peace. Years passed. Children grew. Villages healed. And though Amita's hair turned silver, her eyes remained soft and bright. They called her the mother of the peace wall. And when asked, "How did you forgive the one who took your son?" she would whisper, "Because peace is not a place I reached. It is how I chose to walk." What Amita did wasn't easy. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't surrender. It was peace. Not the kind of peace you wait for. Not the kind you get after all problems are solved. It was the peace that you choose, right in the middle of your pain. Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal law." Dhammapada, verse 5. Most people don't understand this. They think, if I forgive, I lose. But ask yourself, what do you really lose when you let go of hate? Do you lose your dignity? Or do you lose your chains? You see, Ravi didn't die in vain. His death became a turning point, not because Amita punished the killer, but because she chose to transform the pain. This is true spiritual power. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha taught, "One who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers 1,000 men in battle." Anguttara Nikaya 1.10. So let me ask you, who was stronger? The villagers who wanted revenge? Or Amita, who embraced the man who took her son? Her strength wasn't loud. It didn't scream. It didn't burn. It healed. And maybe that's the kind of strength this world needs most today. You see, we live in a world that teaches us to fight, to win, to be right. But what if being right costs you your peace? Do you still want it? Buddha also said, "Peace comes from within, do not seek it without." Dhammapada, verse 160. Amita didn't go to a temple. She didn't chant mantras. She didn't study scriptures. She lived the Dharma, through rice and lentils, through silence and forgiveness. That is Buddhism in action. But now I turn to you. What would you do if someone took away the person you love most? Would you seek justice, or vengeance, or healing? Would you carry the fire, or become the water? So many people say, peace isn't practical. The world is too cruel. Forgiveness is naive. But I ask you, if everyone thinks that way, how will the world ever change? Sometimes, you don't need to change the world. You just need to change yourself. Because when you choose peace, every day, every breath, every step, you become the change. You become the path. And then, you realize what Amita knew all along. There is no path to peace. Peace is the path. If you're still here, listening, feeling, then something inside you already knows this truth. Peace is not a destination. It's not something you arrive at after the chaos ends. Peace is the way through the chaos. And maybe that's why this story found you today. Not by accident, not by coincidence, but because your soul was ready to remember. To remember that you have the power, not to fight, but to forgive. Not to control the world, but to calm the world within you. I don't know what you're carrying. Maybe it's an old grudge, a pain you never voiced, a person you cannot forgive. Maybe it's yourself. But I ask you now, just for a moment, let it go. Take one deep breath and let it fall. Because every second you hold on to it is a second you lose peace. And isn't that what you truly want? So let me ask you a question. What are you still holding that is stealing your peace? Put it in the comments. Name it, speak it. Not for me, but for you. Because sometimes, just saying it is the beginning of letting go. And when you share, you might help someone else, someone who's been too afraid to speak. We are not alone in this journey, even though it feels like it sometimes. Somewhere out there is someone crying in silence, someone aching from the same wound you've been hiding. So if this story touched you, please share it. Send it to someone who needs healing, someone who needs hope, someone who needs peace. It could be your friend, your sibling, a parent, or maybe an enemy. Let it be a bridge. Let it be your offering. And if you feel this message matters, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and the Dharma, then I invite you, please subscribe to this channel. Not for numbers, not for fame, but to build a place where souls like yours can gather. A place of peace, a path of peace. Because remember, peace isn't out there, it's in here. In the stillness, in the breath, in the pause, between one heartbeat and the next. So I'll leave you with one last thought. Not a quote, not a teaching, just a question, one that I hope you'll answer deeply and honestly. Would you rather be right or be at peace? Tell me below. Let the world hear the wisdom in your heart. May you walk gently today. May you carry light. May your path be peace.